It is just before dawn in northeastern Ohio. The roads are quiet. The woods are still bare from winter, and the only thing moving through the countryside should be deer, maybe a coyote. But over the past few days, several people say they've seen something else moving through those woods, something tall, upright, something that doesn't quite fit into any wildlife guide. Welcome back, my Nightside tribe. This is Sunny with Nite Muse Media, coming to you from somewhere above the 45th parallel, where Sasquatch is no stranger and is in fact revered. There are yard signs and art everywhere paying tribute to him up here right now. Well, this is certainly becoming an exciting adventure and making history in the world of Bigfoot lore. At the time of this recording, I am finding over 8 witness reports having been officially made to the Bigfoot Society. Numbers could have risen as you are listening. We are following up on a strange cluster of sightings spreading across Portage County, Ohio, and asking a simple question: what exactly has been walking through those forests? Over the past several days, witnesses in Portage County and surrounding areas have reported a cluster of sightings involving what many believe may have been a large, unknown creature, the kind often associated with Bigfoot, or what other researchers sometimes call the grassman. Now, these creatures have been reported at variable sizes, anywhere from 6 to 9 feet tall. One sighting alone, now that could raise an eyebrow. 2 sightings might make you a little bit curious, but when you have several sightings within a short period of time, that's what investigators call a flap. And that's exactly what appears to be happening right now. Reports have come in from areas around Garrettsville, Windham, and Newton Falls. And when mapped out, the sightings appear to follow a rough corridor across the region, a path that's running along wooded green belts, waterways, and something else that many people overlook entirely: old railroad corridors. Yeah, old railroad beds. They're following the tracks. Didn't you used to do that as a kid? In fact, one of the more interesting geographic features in the area is the Headwaters Trail, and that's a long recreational trail that once served as a railway line. The wooded buffer around it forms a continuous strip of forest stretching through several of the towns where sightings were reported. And wildlife biologists know animals frequently use corridors like these to move between larger habitats. Think of them as nature's highways. Which raises another interesting question. If witnesses did see a large unknown animal, was it passing through the region rather than living in the towns themselves? Now, here's something wildlife biologists also know that people sometimes don't think about. Late winter and early spring is when many young animals are forced to leave the territory where they were born. Bears and coyotes, other mammals, often disperse during this time, traveling miles in search of new ground. When animals travel, they tend to follow the easiest routes through the landscape: the river valleys, the rail corridors, and the wooded greenways. So why would a Bigfoot do anything different? In northeastern Ohio, those routes include the same corridors where several of these recent sightings have occurred. It's an interesting detail, because if something large were moving through the region, those are exactly the kinds of pathways it would probably follow. But here's where the story becomes a little more mysterious, because many of the witnesses insist that what they saw wasn't moving like a deer or a bear or any animal they recognized. And I have faith in people's intelligence. I think that if you see a deer, you know it's a deer. They describe something that's upright, something that's unusually tall, something crossing roads or slipping through the tree line in the quiet hours before the dawn. And if this story sounds familiar, it's because Ohio has been here before. Back in 1978, in the small town of Minerva, residents began reporting sightings of a tall, hairy creature moving through their nearby woods. Their reports became so widespread that armed residents and local police actually searched the area. They say footprints were found. Witnesses described a creature that was 7 to 8 feet tall. The case became known as the Minerva Monster. And even today, investigators still debate what people saw during those strange nights. Now, whenever stories like this begin circulating, another question almost always follows close behind. People start looking up as well as into the woods, and sooner or later someone asks, were there any strange lights in the sky? Over the years, a small number of witnesses have reported seeing unusual aerial lights near the time of cryptid sightings. Now, there's no scientific evidence linking the two phenomena, but the overlap has occasionally appeared in witness reports. For now, investigators say there are no confirmed UFO sightings tied directly to the recent Ohio encounters. Still, Ohio does receive its share of UAP reports each year through reporting systems such as MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, and National UFO Reporting Center, which means the skies above the Buckeye State can be just as interesting as the forest below. Of course, whenever a story like this spreads, a few adventurous souls decide it might be a good idea to head into the woods and see what they can find, preferably at night. Sometimes with a flashlight, and sometimes with a rifle and a thermal scope. Now, wildlife experts will usually tell you that wandering through the dark forest looking for something large and unidentified is perhaps not the best plan, especially if the thing you're looking for is better adapted to the woods than you are and probably much bigger. Before we wrap up tonight's story, imagine something for a moment. It's 4 a.m, and you're driving along a quiet country road. Your headlights sweep across the tree line, and for a moment, you think you see movement. Something dark slips between the trees, and you slow the car, and you look again. But whatever was there is gone. No sound and no tracks, just the woods. For now, the Ohio sightings remain exactly what they are. Witness reports, which could and probably are credible, no photographs, and no confirmed tracks, just people who say they experienced and saw something unusual moving quietly through the forests of Portage County. Maybe it was a misidentified animal, maybe it was something stranger, or maybe it was simply something passing through the night that most of us will never notice. Either way, the woods of northeastern Ohio are a little more mysterious this week, and if you happen to be driving a quiet road just before dawn, you might want to keep an eye on the tree line, just in case. Follow the signals. Question the noise. I'll see you on the night side.